Dmitry, appreciate the time. How you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you, gentlemen?
Very good. Very good. The Datsyuk injury, Dmitry, is obviously a major concern with this hockey team. And there are some people who look at it and say, if he's not completely healthy, this team can't win. Am I wrong in saying that? Can they win without a healthy Pavel Datsyuk?
Well, absolutely not. Because you're looking at about maybe two lines who will score goals. And you're looking at this team and how thin they are on defense. So it's not about defense. It's about the first two lines, whether they can score goals. And the last line of defense, Varlamov or Bobrovsky, if they can keep, goals out. So it's it's not going to be a finished sort of system 1-0, 2-1 game. This is going to be like a 6-5, 7-6 kind of game. So you take Datsyuk out, there's no one to step in. And it's not just the type of magnitude of a player he is. It's just there's no one to step in.
Do you think that most Russians understand that, or is the pressure going to be enormous regardless of whether Datsyuk's at 100%?
Oh, they understand it.
Yeah.
They know it full well. I mean, the first two lines, Malkin and Ovechkin, they wanted Salmon on their line. They got him. Datsyuk is going to play with Radulov and Ilya Kovalchuk. So, hoping those guys can bring it in, even though both are KHLs, but, could probably still play in the NHL, especially Ilya Kovalchuk. So, take him out. There'll be no center. There'll be no one to back check and sort of, clean up and at the same time create, because Datsyuk is just, a beautiful player, especially on big guys. I mean, again, it's sort of one of the pillars. If there are any pillars to this team, there are three, like Ovechkin, Malkin, and Datsyuk. You take one of them out, it's really, really shaky.
Russia-Slovenia tomorrow is the first game for the host nation in Sochi. Dmitry Chesnokov here on Tim and Sid from Yahoo Sports discussing it. 4 years ago, Dmitry, Alexander Ovechkin looked tight. He looked tense. It seemed like he wanted to do it all by himself and just was not able to, despite the fact they did get to the Final Four of the tournament. Compare, based on what you're hearing and reading from Ovechkin, not just this week, but in the lead-up, compare Ovechkin now to Ovechkin 4 years ago going into that Olympics.
Oh, well, this is I don't want to say a different player, but at the same time, 4 years. He's gone through a slump. He's faced a lot of adversity to only come back last season and definitely coming back this season. 4 years ago, he played with Malkin, and they were pretty much shot down by Team Canada. So those guys learned a lot. I'm sure, for Ovechkin, he knows the kind of pressure he's in. If the Russians win, it's the Russians win. If the Russians lose, it's Alex Ovechkin's fault. He knows full well what it's like. He knows full well what it's going to be like. He understands the pressure. He can feel it. But at the same time, again, 4 years, he's a more mature player. The way he looks at the game, the way he looks at the team, hopefully the result's going to be better than 4 years ago.
Given where you work and who you work for, you've had a lot of interaction with Ovechkin over the last little while, more than us. It seems to me, however, that he almost relishes this situation. Would that be a fair assessment?
He relishes the situation, because he wants to. He craves the big scene, whether the Capitals making the playoffs or not, or playing for the national team. Especially, there's something needs to be said about the national team. I mean, you're talking about a player who grew up with a mother who was a two-time Olympic gold medalist. You're talking about a player that last year came to play for his country at the IIHF World Championships, having a fracture in his foot. So this means a lot to him. This is the player, again, going even back further, who was the first to come out and say, no matter what, whether the NHL player allows their players to go or not, I'm going. Then he was joined by the likes of Malkin and Kovalchuk. But he was the first. He was the leader. So he craves this. This is his home country. He knows this could be his legacy, especially in his homeland.
Who starts the goal tomorrow, Dmitry? Bobrovsky or Varlamov? Because, you would think a guy with a Vezina trophy probably is in the pole position, but based on on the things you're reading out of camp, at least this week, it might not be a cut and dry decision. Who do you think goes tomorrow?
I think Varlamov goes tomorrow. And this is something that I've been saying for a while, because Varlamov's been seen and nurtured as the number one goalie for Team Russia. This is way before he even came to the NHL. And after Bobrovsky won the Vezina. And again, I'm not trying to undermine Bobrovsky in any way whatsoever. But Varlamov, even back then, was still seen as the number one goalie. So he may be in the pole position, with Bobrovsky not far behind. But I think this is Varlamov's job to lose.
Let me just say this before we let you go. Your pronunciation of the Russian athletes is so much cooler than ours.
Yeah, ours sucks, Dmitry.
Yeah, like I love the idea that we can have someone on who can actually say it properly.
Oh, well, thank you.
And we apologize you have to be associated anyway with Greg Wyshynski.
Yeah.
That's also an apology that we'd like to throw your way.
Throw that way.
I'm pretty sure you can't hear that.
Oh,
otherwise, I think he'll be the next one to come to your office to microwave some fish, or worse yet, some Brussels sprouts or something.
Yeah. Oh, that's true. Yeah.
He's done it before, though.
He has done it before. Dmitry, sure. We wish you a safe flight. This is going to be one for the books. It looks like it's going to be an intense, fascinating tournament, and I hope you enjoy. Take care.
Right. Thank you so much for having me.